Welcome to this essential bonus episode of Ignite, Fighting Fascism in the Age of Its Rise. There is elevating conversation in the United States of America, which is seeking to chill dissent to this presidential administration. And it is essential that we use our words and our voice to push back against this rising tide of authoritarianism. I like to think of myself as someone who is able to articulate these important and essential goals quite well. However, I came across something that does this better than I ever could. And so, with the author's permission, and indeed their encouragement, I wanted to share with you an important and poignant set of words describing accurately what is happening in this country right now. We cannot shy away or be afraid of this administration and its constant attempts to advance the cause of authoritarianism. And one of the ways that we can shed this fear is by speaking the truth. And in spite of this administration's constant efforts to brand any kind of speech against them as violence, I would remind you that the power of our words is an essential and protected right. Speaking against this administration is not violence, it is victory, and it is truth. So please, now, if you will, take a moment to listen to these important and essential truths about what is actually happening in this country. And after you do, I would remind you to find essential and important ways for you to go into your community to make a positive difference, to use your voice, but most importantly, to be unafraid in the face of fascism.
The killing of Charlie Kirk should have been met with restraint, evidence, and compassion. That is what a democracy does in the face of violence. It waits for facts, it honors the dead, and it upholds justice without weaponizing grief. But that's not what happened in the United States. Elon Musk jumped online and branded the left the party of murderers before anyone knew the shooter's motive. That isn't just reckless, it is a deliberate act of incitement. He knows his words will be repeated, amplified, and believed. He knows he can smear millions as killers with a single post. And he knows it drags America closer to civil conflict. Donald Trump followed with the same poison. He blamed the radical left without a shred of evidence. It wasn't a mistake, it was the script. Accuse first, invent facts later, repeat until truth is unrecognizable. That is not democracy. That is authoritarianism. It is the same tactic Putin used to justify war, the same tactic Xi uses to crush dissent. And now it is the tactic of Trump and Musk, not to strengthen America, but to dismantle it from within. The hypocrisy is not subtle. 2 months ago, a MAGA extremist murdered a Democratic state legislator, her husband, and their dog. Another state senator and his wife were shot and barely survived. The attacker carried a kill list of dozens more Democrats. And what was the Republican response? Silence. No outrage, no demands for action, no mourning of public servants executed for their party affiliation. Nothing. This silence is not new. It is a part of the record. Armed extremists plotted to kidnap and execute the governor of Michigan. On January 6, Trump told his followers to fight like hell. They stormed the Capitol. They hunted lawmakers through the halls of Congress. They beat police officers. They carried Confederate flags through a building that symbolizes the Republic itself. And Trump sat back and called them patriots. He promised them pardons. In 2025, he delivered. Nearly 1,600 rioters had their sentences wiped clean. Leaders of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, convicted of sedition, walked free. Men with long records of violent abuse, child exploitation, sexual crimes, absolved. These were not patriots. They were criminals. And instead of punishment, they got protection. Some now have the audacity to sue the government, demanding millions from the very democracy they tried to burn down. This is not random hypocrisy. This is sabotage. It is a constant, conscious project to hollow out democracy and replace it with chaos. Musk and Trump feed the machine with lies. They turn tragedy into propaganda. They excuse extremists when they wear the right hat, and they smear opponents as murderers when they don't. They are not stumbling into danger, they are building it. And here's the clearest proof. Compare America to other democracies. Brazil faced the same challenge. Jair Bolsonaro tried to cling to power after losing in 2022. He plotted a coup. He incited riots. He fed the same lies of a stolen election. And what happened? Brazil's institutions held. Bolsonaro was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 27 years in prison for plotting insurrection, leading a criminal group, and undermining democracy. 27 years. That is what accountability looks like. That is how a democracy survives. Now look at the United Kingdom. Only yesterday, the UK government fired its ambassador to the United States for ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Peter Mandelson had emails defending Epstein, calling him best pal, and coaching him to fight his conviction. The moment this became undeniable, he was sacked. No excuses. No protecting powerful man because of his connections. No pretending it didn't matter. Action was taken immediately. This is how democracies defend their legitimacy. And now look back at America. Donald Trump, a man with his own ties to Epstein, a man who incited an insurrection, a man who promised and delivered pardons to seditionists, sits as president again. Not in exile, not in prison, not disgraced. Elected, empowered, protected. That is not democracy. That is rot. It is a global embarrassment. If I wanted to design a machine to collapse America from within, I wouldn't need to invent one. I would hand the microphone to Elon Musk and the stage to Donald Trump. Between them, they already serve as that machine. They spread lies. They legitimize violence. They shield extremists. They corrode institutions. They have written the script for America's slow self-destruction. And the country, eyes wide open, follows them step by step towards collapse. Democracy has rules. Evidence comes before accusation. Violence is punished, not excused. Power is checked, not worshipped. Corruption is exposed, not ignored. That is how Brazil defended itself. That is how the UK defended itself. That is how functioning democracies survive. The United States has abandoned these principles. It protects the guilty and persecutes the innocent. It weaponizes tragedy. It pardons traitors. This is not leadership. This is treason by another name. It corrodes democracy, destabilizes society, and hands victory to America's enemies abroad. Unless it is called out for what it truly is, an organized campaign to normalize violence, excuse extremists, and destroy trust, the collapse will not be an accident. It will be a choice, and it will be the end of the American Republic. I have not said anything as poignant or as really stunning as that, and I wanted to share that with you for today's bonus episode. Powerful stuff. So please, if you would consider, listen to those words again. Take those words and echo them in your community. As this administration tries to brand all speech against it as somehow some kind of violence, go into your community with a calm and steady voice, with courage and conviction, and strongly and politely and resolutely speak the words of courage. Take these words and modify them if you must. Use them in a way which is personal to you. Or take the inspiration from this to simply go out onto your street to speak to your neighbors in the community. Do not be afraid of the truth. The last bastion of this democracy is the ability to see something as true, and that is being eroded in front of you. If you are opposed to what is happening in this country, that does not make you a bad person. You are not crazy in seeing what you're seeing. It is happening. The advance of authoritarianism is creeping slowly, evermore each day. But your opposition to this and to this change in our country's core principles, that does not make you a bad person. So now go out into your community and prove that. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We'll see you out there.